All right. Some wrestling news, Ian.
Mm-hmm.
So I talked about how my interest in WWE was waning. And it turns out I wasn't the only one.
No.
Ratings have been on the slide and decline heavily of the past, let's just say this year they've been. And whenever ratings start to go, it's usually not for something sudden. It's usually you build up to that where, okay, I'm sick of watching this anymore over time.
Right.
And that pretty much what happened to me. I'm sick of wrestlers not being pushed properly, that I like storylines not making any sense, 50-50 booking, which means that, one wrestler beats one guy one week, then he loses next week to the next guy. It doesn't help build any stars. And the same shit getting pushed down your throat, year after year. So ratings have been bad, and it sounds like live attendance has been pretty terrible as well. There was word from that they tarped off a huge amount of section at the last pay-per-view event. Not even just a Raw. Like, there was people that just weren't showing up for these events anymore. I think it was Kofi defending against Dolph Ziggler from a few weeks back, whatever it was. So things have been bad. And we knew they've been bad. But they've now...
It's the good shit. It's that good shit
That's good shit right there. Dean Ambrose came out on Jericho's podcast and gave his reason for leaving, which is basically because Vince McMahon is... Things we talked about, that Vince McMahon runs the show.
Talked about that.
And that, he didn't want to reference Roman Reigns having cancer as part of a storyline, and he did it and he felt sick afterwards because Vince wanted him to. And that's really what it comes down to. When you have one guy who at the end of the day is over the hill, creatively hasn't come up with a good idea in forever, and he's the last word, this is what you get. So now they're going desperation mode entirely, and they've hired, this is non-kayfabe, meaning in real life, they've hired in executive positions to run both Raw and SmackDown, Paul Heyman to be the showrunner for Raw, and Eric Bischoff to run SmackDown.
It's wild to see Bischoff back.
He's back. Well, he's been back before, but he never was in creative control to this extent.
Power, yes.
Yeah, he was an on-screen character. He was great as an on-screen character when he came back. So this is going to happen slowly, just because obviously their storylines are already going. There's another. They don't call them pay-per-views anymore, but they still do. It's weird. Pay-per-view coming up in a week or two that I have no interest in. But last night was the first show that Paul Heyman was officially the showrunner on. I watched it. And you can see a difference. So in the first 10 minutes, they had no false count anywhere match between Lashley and Braun Strowman. Braun Strowman shoulder blocked Lashley through the LED screen in the back.
That's what that was. And I saw like a GIF of it.
Yeah, and they rigged a bunch of pyro, like they're getting electrocuted.
Pop. Yeah.
And Corey Graves dropped a holy shit. And this is 8:08 p.m. This isn't even like 9 on yet.
Right.
So obviously that's planned. And they cut to this angle from up above they never used it, and there was no commentary for like 5 whole minutes as they show them stretching. So this is almost like, wow, this is the new direction. And then there was still garbage though. There's still the same old stuff that they're still trying to, probably phase out. One of the weird things they did though, I think there's a new rule that they want to do where no more matches going through commercial breaks.
Yes.
That to me is horrible, just because that means you'll never get a match over maybe 10 to 12 minutes on TV on one of these shows. That you don't want that. You want to be able to have a 25-minute match on TV or a 30-minute match. And now they've gimmicked it where now last night they found reasons to stop matches and restart them just for commercial breaks. For the live audience, that would be terrible too, because they're watching absolutely nothing until the match restarts. That's going to go away. That cannot stay around. You need to be able to have a 20-minute match, half-hour match on SmackDown and Raw. I guarantee you that's going to go away. But at least last night, that's what they did. The other thing they did, the extreme thing they did, something from the Attitude Era, they brought back Mike and Maria Kanellis. Remember them? They hired them like 3.5 years ago. They haven't done shit because they haven't been around. Then she got pregnant and had a kid. And then they've done absolutely nothing since they signed, and they just re-signed them. They did an angle where she revealed during a mixed tag match with Becky Lynch and Seth Rollins, who are now teaming up because they're dating in real life, which is fucking horrible, by the way, to do something like that, because it diminishes both of them by doing that. Anyway, they had Maria Kanellis, who I've interviewed at Comic-Con, say, "I'm pregnant," and Mike is like, "What?" And then almost insinuating like, how is this possible? And her saying, you're not man enough to get me pregnant. Maybe I can have Becky, the only man around here, impregnate me. This is like Attitude Era stuff that they did. The crowd kind of liked it, but it was still kind of weird to see that on a Raw in 2019, especially with characters that haven't been used ever, and now they're trying to work it, which is good. And the big thing, though, that they've done that's positive that they should have done 2 fucking years ago was use Gallows and Anderson with AJ Styles, because that's a natural stable. And so AJ Styles turned heel on Ricochet in the main event. So that you could say, like, okay, that was common sense, but it's good that they're finally moving in that direction and using Gallows and Anderson, who haven't been used almost at all in the 3 years they've been there. And they want to leave anyway. So you might as well try to use them, get them to stay, or just use them at least. So you can tell there was some Paul Heyman shine on the show, but we'll see where it develops. The Eric Bischoff thing to me is kind of stranger, just because Eric Bischoff was never a guy known, be a savvy businessman, but was never known to make the smartest decisions when it came to booking and to, maximizing potential of wrestlers. So I'm not certain that's going to work out if he's really the head guy on SmackDown. The good news is that then these shows, in theory, will be entirely different if Vince doesn't meddle. SmackDown and Raw will be entirely different. Because that's the problem now, is they're the same show.
It does say here that everything is still going through McMahon.
So maybe the filter, he trusts these 2 guys more since they've been in the business for, 25 years each, maybe, or more for both of them, almost 30 years, I think, for Heyman, if you go back.
Yeah. I mean, it can only... A shakeup at this point can only help. I don't think there's much lower that you can fall.
Well, according to this article, if Vince wants to bring back the XFL, he can't do both that and WWE just can't.
Sure.
Which would be good.
I think the XFL is doomed to fail again, but that whatever.
Well, the new league, the AFL, is gone. I think
it didn't even make it through a season.
Yeah.
No, it was they were told they had to vacate their hotel rooms.
All the players?
Yeah, they were told, like, it's not, your bill's not being paid, you got to go. But yes,
the Alliance of American Football.
This will be interesting to watch. I'll do a lot of reading about it before I decide to spend any time watching it. But better than just Vince.
Yeah. I'm not sure this is the way to go, because you could have other people that put in for, I guess it's good that Vince sees the writing on the wall that ratings are slipping. You have a huge, fucking huge deal with Fox coming up, TV deal, that you have to keep ratings up or they're going to be mad and things will not go well. So it's good that but it should have gotten to this point. But that's always how this stuff happens. Yeah. It's always how this stuff happens, especially in wrestling, when people just for some reason don't know what good business is and how to build stars and to put together coherent storylines. I don't know. They don't listen to the people that they hire. That's what happens here. All right, well, I'll watch SmackDown tonight a little bit. Let's put it this way. The Raw was different. I still wasn't in love with Raw. I was like, okay.
Well, I mean, the changes aren't going to be immediate.
But
it even says in the article that it's expected to be a very slow transition.
But unless they give him full carte blanche, we'll see. But it was interesting to see, like, the different people being used. It was, not same old. But they got to get rid of this thing where this wild card rule where the rosters don't matter between Raw and SmackDown. You have Daniel Bryan showing up on Raw and Kofi going back and forth and New Day. It's like, keep them separate. Otherwise, there's no point in having the brands anymore. There's no point in doing it.